I just know that the next 72, 96 hours are going to be stressful.
Hello world, and welcome back to Grid Iron Campbell, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ryan, and I'm joined by the entire collective, The Disciple, Brett Colson, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nawara. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, rate and review on your podcatcher of choice. 5 stars only, like Trent Richardson, who is a man I bring up because I keep hearing steam for Ryan Grigson to be the next general manager of my fightin' Ryan Grigson, a man who spent a first-round pick, traded it to the Browns for Trent Richardson, also used a first on Pete Werner, a linebacker, Philip Dorsett, and was so bad at constructing a roster that he forced Andrew Luck into retirement in his 20s. So please, 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 if anybody at One Jets Drive in Florham Park, New Jersey, is listening to the sound of my voice, do not hire Ryan Grigson to be the general manager of our franchise. Decent week for the collective last week, save for one game, which was a big nut punch for both the Moose and the Disciple. It was the Green Bay Packers, and it was one of those where as soon as they fumbled the kickoff, it was pretty evident. Just the worst harbinger that you could ask for. Couldn't get anything going. It's not like the Eagles played well in that game. Struggled to move the ball. Jalen Hurts was as poor as we discussed, but it just didn't matter. Jordan Love couldn't get anything going, and they could not dig themselves out of that early hole. This is a tense weekend for, again, both Brett and Mo, because their teams are playing for a chance to play each other in the AFC Championship. I think it'll be a little more squeaky bum up in Orchard Park for Brett's Buffalo Bills, because we start with Mo's Kansas City Chiefs, who are playing host to the Houston Texans. They are as big as 10-point favorites on a very influential offshore book. It is an expensive 10. I saw as low as 8 yesterday. So there's some steam coming in on Kansas City. Total of 42. I've seen that as low as 41.5 as well. And nobody has come to me with a very strong opinion on this game. So we will kick it off with you, Mo. This is your Kansas City Chiefs. I think we're all pretty confident that they'll be able to win outright against a Texans team that has been lackluster for the majority of the season. But will they win by margin, as this spread is indicating, and a lot of the support from people with influential money might be indicating as well?
Yeah, the market not excited about that 20-point win last week. I think rightfully so. I mean, I don't think the Texans played a particularly good game. I think the Chargers just sucked. And yeah, the defense was pretty good, but the offense was still pretty sloppy and shitty. I just find this game fascinating in the sense of these teams just played a month ago, and the Chiefs were 4-point favorites. So how did we get to 10? I mean, it's not really 10. That was kind of fake. I can't believe you did that. It's like minus 132 or something. But yeah, like this is still kind of a crazy move. I know that the Chiefs are playing better, and obviously they pretty much got a double bye. So it's a good situation for them. They also get Jalen Watson back. And you have a Houston receiving core that is decimated by injury. Even Robert Woods is hurt. I mean, I don't know what they got left at this point. So I'm pretty concerned that they're not going to be able to move the ball. The only real advantage the Texans have is probably up front on defense, where they are very, very good, but then you have Patrick Mahomes. He is not Justin Herbert. Last time these two teams played, 47 dropbacks. He took 1 sack. So he's pretty good at mitigating that advantage. All that's really left is Nico Collins. I don't think that should be close to enough. That said, it's still a lot of points in a low total. I mean, kind of rightfully so, I think, when I look at the way the Chiefs are going to play here. Texans corners are very, very tough to beat deep. We're going to probably see, close your ears, Matt Clark, a very low A dot here from the Chiefs offense. So I expect a lot of dinking and dunking. I don't expect the Texans to do a lot of great things on offense. The one spot maybe to watch is if DJ Humphries. I'm seeing him back first string at left tackle. I'm guessing he's going to have a short leash. So if the Chiefs are struggling early and he's getting wrecked and he gets swapped out, that might be a live betting opportunity for the Chiefs. But outside of that, not much is interesting for me here.
They won't have Deontay Johnson either.
I will not punt off on Deontay Johnson 11-1 touchdown this week.
Claimed by the Ravens today. The Ravens always 10,000 steps away trying to improve their compensatory formula when it comes to free agency next season, because by rule, he can't even be a part of the playoff roster. So Ravens basically just making sure that Deontay can't play for another team and they can get the maximum comp formula for him being on their roster. The last time the Kansas City Chiefs played football and tried was Christmas Day. By the time this kicks off, those guys will have had 23 days off. This is like the ultimate rest versus rust argument. But when it comes to Andy Reid and preparation, I'm going to tend to think that the rest is going to have the advantage in this spot. Donnie, I have to pass the ball to you because you have one of our favorite bets. It is an all-timer. Gridiron Gamble fans will know what is coming. Donnie, what should we be wagering on in this contest?
Mahomes over rushing. It's playoff time, baby. Let's go. What are we waiting for? Come on. This number's 23.5. It should be 33.5. This is Mahomes when it matters. He's had, like Rich said, like 6 months off to heal up that ankle. The guy's going to be ready to go. And all the better if the Texans can put some pressure on him. Great. Scramble away, Mahomes. Let's go.
Doesn't this always cash in like the first quarter? Like, doesn't he just like rip off a 20-yard
like he'll have
run?
2 rushes and then he's just gone. And Mahomes is one of those guys where this is like an underrated part of his rushing. He like gets to the sidelines and you think he's going to go out, and then like the defender kind of backs off because they don't want to hit Mahomes because that's going to be a flag, but then he sneaks back in for like 5 more yards. He does it all the time. All the time.
He does the little tightrope sideways and then leans the ball forward and gets 3 extra yards. I think on the other side, CJ Stroud, a guy who didn't tuck and run at all last season, he had 50 rushing yards last week. His alt 50 over this week is 15-1. Like, we should be betting CJ Stroud rushing ladder this week,
dude.
Because
I didn't think he could run like that. That blew me away.
I think he's always been capable. He's just, and this is kind of why I liked him as a prospect. He is very much I'm going to stay in the pocket, keep my eyes downfield and deliver, which is ultimately what you need to win in this league. That's why Lamar's gotten so much better the better he's become a pocket passer, because offense is about explosive plays, right? And breaking pocket and running, you can only create so many explosives by doing that. But by throwing the ball, it's much easier to create explosives that way. And yeah, I mean, it's the playoffs. Stroud might have to make a play. He might have to break pocket, and he's athletic, and we should be looking at his rushing totals as well. Mo, you said gun to head, you like the over in this spot, and I tend to agree with you as well. I don't want to say Slowick was okay last week, is what I'm trying to get at. He mixed in a lot more passing on first down than he had previous weeks in the season. The Houston offense was humming at a level that didn't look like they had previously. And I think more importantly out of all of this is number 12 was banged up a lot during the season, and Nico looks fully healthy. And when that guy's on the field, the explosives will be available for Houston. even with someone like Bobby Wood sidelined and some of the depth at this receiver group in question, I think the Texans will be able to put together some scoring drives. So I think I am interested in that over as well. But honestly, the quarterback rushing for both of these guys is my most interested look in this contest. Let's get to the nightcap on Saturday. Let's get to a game that there's actually some strong dissension amongst the collective, because the Washington, formerly racial slurs, formerly football team, now commies, travel to Detroit, where the Lions are, can I say 10-point favorites? Am I allowed to say 10-point favorites in this spot?
This is closer, but I don't think it's quite there. But yeah,
it's still pretty an expensive 10 once again, seeing some 9s and 9.5s as well. The Lions had the rest. The Commanders went down to Tampa Bay and took care of business against the Buccaneers. And there was a fervor within the GG Discord, bit.ly/Discord Moose, to get on the commies, to bet the commies on the money bet line. But Brett is here to pour cold water all over that, because somehow, some way, the man who was denigrated, Man Campbell, more than anybody in front of microphones, is out here telling us to bet max alts on the Detroit Lions in this game.
Well, let me start by saying I think this game has the widest range of outcomes. And one of those is that the Lions just blow the doors off this fraudulent Commanders team that has run way above expectation against soft opposition all season, including last week against Tampa. A handoff fumble in Tampa's own zone let Washington back into the game, and they won, despite being diced up by Baker, just like they've been diced up all season. The Bucs only threw the ball 18 times last week, which is inexplicable, but that kind of plays into this cap. Like, Tampa's not a good football team, lousy coaching staff, horrific pass defense, like, good riddance, Tampa. But now the commies get a real test against an offense that is extremely difficult to stop. They're finally taking a seat at the adult table, and there is no booster seat. The other outcome is that the Lions defense crumbles against a very athletic quarterback, and Goff pisses down his own leg and can't do enough to win a football game. I think it's more likely we see a blowout here than a Washington win. So I've got the Lions minus 20.5 on DraftKings, plus 322. We know Dan Campbell does not step off the gas, and the Lions should be able to do whatever they want in this game. So that is my play here. But I could certainly, I think you could make a good case for Washington money line too, and I look forward to hearing that from you guys.
Well, yeah, Mo's got the alts on the other side, not all the way to money line in his account. He's taken the traditional 7.5, I believe. Did you grab that when it opened, or did you grab that as an alt as well, Mo? I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, I'm looking at alts now. Best prices I found were on FanDuel. Plus 7.5 is plus 106. Plus 3.5 is plus 215. Like Brett said, very high variance game, high powered offenses, beatable defenses, and two coaching staffs that will be going for every 4th and short. So we could see some drives that there's going to be a fork in the road where it could either be a touchdown or a turnover. This is going to happen multiple times. And I think that plays into alts for sure. I like from Washington, from Washington's end, I just like their matchup against this Lions defense. Obviously, things went well for the Lions against the Vikings. That being said, look at the 3 games before that they played against decent offenses. They allowed 34, 48, and 41 to the last 3 good offenses they faced before that. So, I think, the Lions will be running the ball. That's likely going to work. Washington is poor against the run. Only thing they're very good at is getting pressure on the quarterback. But they also like to play man. That is not going to work very well in this game. Jared Goff gains like 50 points of passer rating when he faces man. And he's been better when he's been blitzed, according to PFF's grading this year. So I I'm not confident about that side of the ball. I'm tempted to parlay Washington with the over in this spot because I don't really see that many situations where they don't allow a lot of points. So I think they're going to have to be matching score for score, / playing catch up, / relying on turnovers. I don't really see them forcing a lot of punts here. So I kind of like Washington, maybe alts parlayed with the over. I'm going to look into that, what kind of prices you can get, because I don't see their defense having any success here other than random pressure blitzes that can make Goff make a mistake. I mean, they still have a way better quarterback, though. Like, Jaden Daniels is so much better than Jared Goff. I mean, I know Jared Goff is thriving and having another good season in a great ecosystem, but the better quarterback is getting infinite points here. So that's the side I have to take.
And again, back to success in the pocket. Those numbers that you're citing against the blitz, it's against the blitz that last week he made that throw to Scary Terry. It's against the all-out engage 8 blitz in Cincinnati. Night game, rookie, on the road, that he's making an insane throw into the end zone. He's not like breaking pocket and running. He is playing at, dare I say, an elite level as a passer already. And you stole the words out of my mouth when you said parlaying with the over, Mo. I think if you like Washington here, you should find a way to same game parlay them with some sort of offensive success, whether it's them team-wise or just in the game as well. Like money line plus 360, yeah, that's nice. But it's such a correlated parlay with the over. It's a very correlated parlay with Jaden Daniels over his rushing number, or Jaden Daniels not to throw an interception. Like, there are very correlative ways you can get to plus 1,000 instead of just taking the plus 360 on the money line with Washington. And I think in a game where the total is 55, those routes are you're going to have much more success on those routes as opposed to just taking the points in this game. Because, like you and Brett just said, there is such a wide range of outcomes in this game that, like, Washington winning isn't that crazy. So just sitting back and taking 9 points at minus 110 just doesn't seem like the right way to attack this game. Yeah, if you take Kami's money line, like, it could absolutely blow up in your face. Brett's alts the Lions cash. But that's fine, because it is a reasonable amount of the outcomes that Washington wins this game to make that bet, as opposed to just taking the points sitting there and hoping that Washington somehow backdoors in this game. That strategy doesn't really sit with me. So this is the game I'm most excited for this weekend. I think. I honestly think Bills Ravens is going to be like this low scoring kind of slobber knocker game. I think it's going to be tense, and obviously there's stakes there, but I think this game could be absolute fireworks. And again, for what you said, Mo, we've got two coaching staffs here. Credit to Dan Quinn. Maybe it's the front office, the ownership group that went in there and just Clockwork Orange. They opened Dan Quinn's eyes and they just made him look at data. Like, these two teams are just going for it, right? Like, every time they can push a 1% edge, they're going to. So yeah, I just think the swings in this game, like, if a team, that's another thing. And I'm going on a bit of a rant here. Like, if either of these teams goes down 10, I think there's a chance to just put a small share on the team that's trailing to win the game. Because, like, that's how crazy this game could be and how much variance could be in this game. Like, I think the swings in this game contest could be absolutely wild from both of these teams. So I think that's something else to look out for as well. Especially if the team that goes up 10, if it's like variance, right? If it's just like a weird fumble that bounces into somebody's gullet and scoops and scores. Obviously, if the Lions come out and are like blowing doors and Washington can't move the ball, then yeah, you probably don't want to fire that live bet on Washington. But if there's something weird that happens, a weird bounce, weird tip, then I think there's an opportunity to make a live wager here on either team and just lean into the amount of variance that could be coming in this contest. I'm excited though. I'm pumped. DP, you went the traditional route. Do you have the 9 already? Have I convinced you to add some money line or something else crazy?
I mean, I talked about in the Discord that I think, there's certainly a world where the Lions win by 40. I mean, this is just that type of game. That said, I kind of just wanted to lock in the +9 as somewhat of a safety net. And then going to what you were speaking towards, Rich, this is a game where I think, Saturday morning, maybe Friday night or whatever, I'm just going to build out a bunch of different same game parlays and just have some fun with it, Like if the Lions do blow doors, okay, can I get some crazy alt rushing overs or this and that? Like build out all this kind of weird sort of stuff and just shoot for the moon in a lot of ways. That said, always sort of just have that safety net because I was like, I could see some late money coming in on Washington if people think things are getting out of line with the Lions here. So I'll just lock in that +9. I'll go from there. And then, again, I'll just have some fun with it in terms of these same game parlays because, you mentioned Jaden Daniels over rushing. I really like that too, especially if this defense is able to get after him. Like, I think he's just the type of guy who's going to start laying it all on the line, kind of like Mahomes does once it gets to the playoffs. Well, the benefit of Jaden Daniels is he's an elite runner. He doesn't seem to care about really getting hit. He avoids like getting hit really hard, so that is a benefit. He's young, he's spry, the kid can move, man. So if he can get out and get after it, great. Like awesome. So yeah, same game parlays for me. I'm going to be coming in late on that and just again have some fun with it.
Can I assume there will be a Zach Ertz touchdown prop in those same game parlays?
Yeah, probably 2. Who knows, right?
Capping for Zach Ertz. Mo.
Zacchaeus in there. Let's go. Come on.
Mo several weeks ahead on Zach Ertz becoming an absolute GOAT once again. An interesting one. I haven't looked at it. I'll be interested to see how David Montgomery is being lined in these markets because he was a full participant in practice somehow, some way. So something interesting if you like the angle of Brett's blowout, something like Montgomery last touchdown, if he's not being lined normally in the market, is something of interest because he is their goal line back traditionally. So that's something to take into account as well.
I got one.
Go for it, Mo.
If you want to get really spicy with the SGPs, Washington money line with Detroit's team total over 31.5 is plus 2,400 on DK.
I mean, if you're gonna get to the over, I mean the Lions. This is not gonna be Commanders 40, Lions 21. Like. That's pretty spicy. I like that, Mo. Good shout. The other NFC tilt. The Los Angeles Rams made Sam Darnold look at ghosts for a second consecutive week. Probably cost my guy like $50 million. And now they have to travel to Philadelphia to take on the aforementioned EAGLES Eagles. I'm seeing 6 right now. I saw as low as 5.5. I am seeing market support for the Rams. Majority of the tickets on LA. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about the Rams. I'm hearing a lot of excitement after how well their defense played against Minnesota. And I think people are kind of cool on Philly after their performance last week. You've got A.J. Brown, a DNP here on Wednesday. You've got A.J. Brown reading books instead of running routes on the field. So I think this game, by game time, I could see this moving closer towards LA. So I think it's very sharp that Brett, if you've jumped out now and grabbed the money bet line early in the week, because I think you might be losing out on some value if you wait. Brett, talk about the scout for us.
Yeah, this is really just me doubling down on the Eagles fade. I said in the Discord last weekend, I can't believe the Packers blew this. They had every opportunity against a pitiful Jalen Hurts, but the turnovers ended them straight away. That first kickoff set the tone. And then, of course, their entire receiving core goes down. And all credit to Josh Jacobs. He put the team on his back, though. But you can't beat the Eagles like that. It was really tough watching, knowing that the Eagles were gettable last week. They absolutely were. Philly's defense did play fantastic. Certainly not taking anything away from them. But now they get Matthew Stafford, who was tremendous last week. Was that an outlier? Or is playoff Stafford just different than regular season Stafford? He looked revived last week. The Rams looked awesome, and I like them here on the money line, plus 235 on FanDuel. I'm selling everything on Hurts. I have a hard time seeing this team going far with the way he's playing post-concussion. Maybe he does look better this week. and I'm just lighting money on fire again. But if the Eagles do fall behind in a game, I don't trust this guy to make plays, even with these weapons. Like the Rams, how many sacks did they have? They had like 9 sacks last week. Obviously, a much stiffer test here against the Eagles' offensive line, but if they can pressure Hurts, I think they just win this game. So I really, really like LA here.
I saw some ridiculous stat. I'm trying to pull it up now. I was able to grab his playoff record real quick, but I saw something like Stafford is like 18-3 in December and beyond with the Rams. I know he's 5-1 in the playoffs with the Rams because they won 4 straight games en route to the Super Bowl, lost their only game last year, and they're 1-0 this year. So is playoff Stafford a thing? I mean, he did not look like Mo, the guy who went out on Christmas and could not complete forward passes against the Arizona Cardinals. He was absolutely dicing up everything that Flores threw at him. That being said, it's a 37% chance of rain in this contest. You have a slight lean towards the under in this game.
Yeah, I'm concerned about Stafford being outdoors in the cold, but at the same time, I do think the Rams plus 6.5 is a bet I would be making if I wasn't already invested in a Rams future at 30-1. I'm just riding with that right now. So just going to hope for the best. But if I didn't have that, I'd likely be on the Rams at 6.5. I think the line is a bit too high. It just all comes down to Jalen Hurts for me. It all comes down to what we get from Jalen Hurts. If that was a post-concussion haze and he's shook out of that and he's his normal self, yeah, this could be another Philly W like the last time when they destroyed the Rams. But if he's not, then I think the Rams win this game outright. I mean, because, yeah, Saquon went for 255 on them last time. But if they don't fear anything from Jalen Hurts, they're just going to load the box without any fear of the pass and just overwhelm this running game with bodies. I mean, I think you pretty much saw the Packers do that last week. I think it was concerning that the coaching staff didn't seem to have any confidence in Jalen Hurts. Any third down over 8 yards, they were just running the ball and punting. That was extremely concerning for me. I do like that this is, I think, a good matchup for this LA offense as well. I mean, that's not why they lost the game last time. They lost the game because they gave up 255 yards to Saquon Barkley. Philly does not pressure the passer. They don't blitz. We know those are the weaknesses of Matt Stafford now that he cannot move. I saw something crazy last week that I brought up on the show with Matt Brown because I didn't know PFF grades went this low. Stafford, when pressured, is a 29 this year. I didn't know they went that low. This is like SAT. Don't you get a grade of 40 for writing your name correctly and filling everything out, don't you? I mean, 40 is like the lowest, I thought. He has a 29 grade if he's pressured, and he has a 92 grade when he's not pressured. So Philly, we know we've talked about this last week with Fangio. He wants to sit back in his zone. He wants to make you check down, and he wants to make you run the ball. And I think Matt Stafford can make the type of throws that Jordan Love was missing last week. And this running game, while it is not an explosive running game, it's a high success rate running game. And that is what you need against Vic Fangio's scheme.
Yeah, and not to mention in that game last week, the Packers entered it without Christian Watson. Then Romeo Doubs slams his head into the turf again. Jaden Reed shatters his arm close to the end of the contest. And you've got Bo Melton and something Heath out there running routes in the most high leverage spot of the season. Granted, literal hat off to the Packers for continuing to try to play football. Whereas, what were the Vikings doing on Monday night there in the fourth quarter? They literally stopped. Joe Buck was beside himself. He literally said on the broadcast, they know they're down 18, right? This is a disgusting performance. So, yeah, this is a Rams team. We've heard about Puka all year. The Scumbag Cup showed up and made a catch last week. Let's hope he can get more than one in this contest. And Stafford is that dude. So, yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm on Rams here. I think Rams money line is a good shout, and Jalen Hurts is just going to have to show me that he can complete forward passes in a big spot. Until then, I'm believing in what I'm seeing from Chris Shula and this Rams defense. Every time the Rams have played in a big spot this year, they've created a ton of pressure, and the guys on the boundary have been tough as nails in man coverage. So I'm believing with Chris Shula is selling right now, and I think the Rams are fully capable of winning this game. The final game of the weekend, the game everybody is excited for, maybe except for our guy, Brett Colson.
The Bills make me wanna
Terrified.
Brett, you were in person at M&T Bank Stadium. You left early. It was a very
one of the
tough
reads
scene.
of the year for Gridiron Gamble.
Yeah, it was a very tough scene for the Bills in that contest. Now we have the rematch. The Buffalo Bills opened as short favorites that quickly flipped to the Ravens being short favorites. That's where we stand now. Total of 51.5, pretty much a 50-50 split ticket-wise. Very Buffalo conditions, save for the wind. The wind looks calm. 13 degrees, 25% chance of snow. Lamar will have probably 3 Scullies on for this game. Brett, take us through first your feelings as a fan, and then take us through your cap for this contest.
Well, yeah, a matchup nightmare for the Bills. When these teams played back in September, the Ravens were on our card. They were my number one play because it is a horrible setup for the Bills. I mean, back then they were without Milano. They were dealing with injuries in the secondary, and that game played out kind of exactly how we expected, right? The Ravens just played bully ball with Henry and pounded us for 4 quarters. I can see this playing out exactly the same way. Buffalo does not have a good defense, and certainly not one built to contain this style of rushing offense. Like, once backs get into that second level, the Bills haven't been able to stop anybody. So I have major concerns there, but the Bills have been so dominant at home. It is a real advantage, and it's, like you said, it's going to be cold on Sunday night. Can Lamar be trusted in those conditions? It's hard for me to get to Ravens favored going into this environment, but the matchups are just kind of sticking there in the back of my mind. I can't get away from that, so this is a stay away for me. I honestly don't know what is going to happen in this game. I just know that the next 72, 96 hours are going to be stressful.
Donnie grabs a very sharp tease when this touched to 1.5. You got the Bills up to 7.5, and you paired them with the Kansas City Chiefs. Talk about that cap, DP.
Yeah, I mean, listen, on the Chiefs, I got them down to 2.5, and I'm just worried in general about the Chiefs being able to stretch games out, which I think at least I've been worried about all season long, and I think a lot of people have. You know, they're not really hanging these big numbers, and even though the Texans are pretty devoid of weapons right now, they can probably do enough to keep within 1 score, so that's my side there. I have a lot of confidence in playoff Chiefs, playoff Mahomes, Andy Reid coming off a lot of rest, just being able to win that game, right? Here, I mean, I have trouble like Brett getting to Ravens minus, and yeah, there is a world where bully ball Baltimore comes out and just runs over Buffalo. Right, that could happen. The Ravens are a very good team, well coached, have a lot of power, all that sort of stuff. Like Brett said, I'm worried about the Bills' defense to an extent. I don't know, man. This Bills team, they feel awesome, like it's their year type of awesome. This is in Buffalo. Josh Allen is doing the damn thing. Like, I think this one is super close. I think the under of, I think I saw 52 is very much in play here, and being able to tease this up to more than a touchdown, 7.5, seems like free money. I mean, I almost want to do another part of the tease and just have Chiefs, Bills, and the under, and I know you're not necessarily supposed to tease over unders, but I mean, why not, right? If I'm just kind of feeling so good about this teaser here. So yeah, I don't see how the Ravens ultimately blow them out here. Yeah, the Ravens could win this game. I would agree there, but I don't think it's going to be a runaway. I think the Bills are ultimately too good. Even if they're down, I think you've seen in the past, essentially Josh Allen can put this team on his damn back and come back. Like, he can do that too, right? So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of struggles for Baltimore in this type of weather. I never really like taking Baltimore coming off such a big dominant win like last week. Like, this is not the Steelers. Okay, this is not. Like, the Bills are in a different league than the Steelers. Okay, so the Bills can score, the Bills can play tough, the Bills can go blow for blow with the Ravens should it come to that. But 7.5 points in a game that I think is going to be much lower scoring than people anticipate. Rich, going back to what you said, I think people think this game's going to be the 40-30, and it's really going to be the Lions and the Commanders, right? This is going to be like 20-17. And people are going to, it's probably going to be a really good game, but there might be some people that are like, where's all the scoring when it's 7-0 at halftime or something, something ridiculous like that.
The other thing about playing under in this game, I'm seeing 51.5 right now, is if these two teams do come out kind of like a heavyweight fight, throw up a 3-0 frame in the first quarter, you're going to get a chance at a very meaty middle if you have live options available to you, where the live total could plummet with some inactivity in the first quarter. So I think that's another angle that you can play with this game. And yeah, I think there's going to just be a lot of feeling out in this game. The one thing that everybody is pointing to is just the Ravens' turnaround on defense starting in the middle of the season. They are tops in so many categories if you pull the slider to week 9, and they've performed extremely well in the back half of the season. That being said, I'm so questionable about this Ravens offense. Even if Zay Flowers comes back, it's an injured guy in the freezing cold. I don't think people realize how much cold affects like injury recovery. Like, if this dude is sniffed once, he's gonna have like the most miserable 3 hours of his life. So no Zay Flowers. If so, a banged up Zay Flowers, and then it's Lamar in the cold. So I just don't think this is going to be the explosive Ravens offense that everyone is so accustomed to, which, yeah, I think everything in this game just points to under 51.5 for me. Mo, put a pin on this night game in Orchard Park.
Yeah, I also like the under. I need somebody to push me into betting it since I'm so terrified of betting an under with these quarterbacks, but I think you guys are doing it. I think if you like the over, the player you want to look for to me that I think could be making a very correlated parlay here if you want to make an SGP is just, I think it's got to be a big Rashad Bateman game. We know these Bills safeties are beatable. I think that's the weak point on this defense. So especially with Zay, I don't think he's going to play. It looks like he's a long shot, sounds like he's a long shot, and even if he does play, it doesn't seem like he's going to be close to 100%. I think the Ravens need to get a big Rashad Bateman game if they're going to score a lot of points here, because like Brett said, all they did was pound the rock last time. I don't know if that's going to work this time. Like Brett said, the Bills' defense is healthier. All the metrics are telling me the Ravens are the better team. They have better metrics. They played in a tougher division. All the numbers are telling me they're better than the Bills. The Bills also thrived off turnovers this year, especially on defense. Lamar Jackson has the lowest turnover-worthy play percent in the NFL, according to PFF's tracking. So that might not be there for them. But it's like you said with Jalen Hurts, man. I got to see it. I got to see Lamar do something in a January game, outside, cold weather, and against a good team. Bless Houston's souls last year. I'm not counting them as a good team. I'm talking about really good teams. It's like Draymond Green said, there's 82 game players and there's 16 game players. And everything we've seen from Lamar Jackson, and I think this could be legitimate because he's a very difficult player to prepare for, but when everybody's working overtime in the playoffs, it's easier to prepare for him. Everything we've seen from him says he's an 82-game player. So I got to see it from him against a team like Buffalo until I'm going to believe this. So I know the numbers are telling me Ravens, so I understand why the market is going that way. I'm not going to do it. So I'll likely be on the under like you guys.
What a game. I'm glad this is the nightcap on Sunday. I can't wait. I can't wait for this game. I know I said that Kami's Lions is almost like a circus act. Like, I really think that is going to be a wild ass game.
Kami's Lions reminds me of that game you went to. Oh, Chiefs Rams. That was just a shit show. I mean, it was track meet up and down.
Yeah, that was welterweight, right? Or whatever, midweight, flyweight. That was just two guys that know they can't kill each other, that are just landing punch after punch because they're just not strong enough to kill the other guy. Whereas I think
last one to score wins.
Exactly. I think Ravens Bills is going to be a lot more feeling out, a lot more, big punches. How many of them are going to land? Who knows?
It's just there's something special about two elite quarterbacks playing for legacy. And these guys are there. Like, Patrick Mahomes could be in this game next week against either one of those guys and lose, and it doesn't matter. He's already got 3 Super Bowls. These guys need it, man. They need it. And one of them is going down in the second round, and that's painful.
Oh, my God. It'll be the longest offseason for whoever loses this game, because can they win with X quarterback? What about this? Is this coach getting stale? Brett, if the Bills go down here, like, how much confidence can you have in McDermott coming back? Everyone loves. There's no. I don't know how bad Josh would have to play for people to be upset with Josh Allen in this game, but the McDermott hot seat, at least from a fan's perspective, it'll be Donnie calling from the parking lot again.
Trade Josh. Trade him.
Yeah.
The McDermott stuff, I've actually come around to McDermott a lot this year because he finally has adapted to the in-games. He still makes a lot of stupid mistakes, but it's nothing like years ago when he would... so many things, especially in the playoffs, so many things, trying to kick field goals to beat Mahomes, like obviously the 13 seconds game, like that kind of stuff I feel like is behind us. I'm hopeful that he can put together a good game plan this week. And just, like Mo said, this game is massive for Josh Allen. Just aside from the MVP stuff, I don't think he cares about that. Like, this is more about, like, we have to get payback against the Ravens here and have another shot at the Chiefs.
It's funny, Donnie, you bring up that Rams-Chiefs game. There are outs to the Rams hosting the NFC Championship game next week against the Commies. And I don't know, I would have to seriously consider finding my way up to Inglewood for that game. And it's weird too, because I think they'll have to make it the late game, which is funny. Or else it's like, if they make it the early game, it's like a 12:30 local kick for the championship. So very bizarre spot there, but we'll have to look into that if that parlay comes home. All right. Can't wait. Can't believe there's only 2 more podcasts after this, Conference Championship and the big game. And as much as the Jet fan in me and the hat on top of my head tells me not to, I'm really rooting for you, Brett. I like this Bills team. I know it's sacrilege to say as a Jets fan, as an AFC East division guy, but Josh Allen is he's just that dude. So I'd love to see him get his shot against Mahomes again.
You
in
need
Arrowhead.
Your whole social media persona needs Josh Allen to win this
Lamar
game.
thing.
Or
I have so
people
many
are
receipts.
coming for you. You might need to delete your account.
I have so many receipts if the Ravens lose this game. I'll have to block off my entire calendar on Monday to go through everybody that went after me from Ravens Twitter if the Bills end up ending their season on Sunday. All right, follow these guys on Twitter. At Brett Colson, COLLSON, at Downey_Peterson, at Mo Nawara, NUWWARAH. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. Enjoy the football this weekend. Only 3 weekends left, people. So enjoy every second. Until then, peace.